All right, time for another round of GNCC interviews here. We got 3 races in the books, so somehow that means it's like a quarter of the way through the season. Myself, Jason Weigandt, Johnny Gallagher, joined first by Wyatt Wilkin on the ATV side. It has been a gnarly year. I'm going to ask everybody we talked to today the same thing. I know the conditions for ATVs have been a lot better on Saturday than the mega mudders that some people have seen on bikes to a degree, but it's been up and down results all around. Just take us through the 3 rounds for you. I know Florida's certainly what you wanted, but what was it like overall, these first 3?
Yeah, in years past, sometimes the dirt bikers get the good days, and this year they have got the bad hand of the deal. We've had pretty good first couple rounds. The first one, I don't think anybody was expecting to come in and it be a complete mutter and kind of a survival race. It's usually not that way. So you get those like halfway through the year where you're already dialed, your bike's already ready to go, and then to come to a complete mud hole with brand new bikes and
Oh,
just a different mindset. It was not the ideal round one. Um, just not a good day for me. Ended up having a mechanical there at the end, but the day all in all, I was not ready for mentally ready, physically ready, just not ready for that kind of round. Then round two, I had to come out swinging in the sand. I usually struggle there very bad, but I needed to do something to make up the points that I lost. We kind of came into this year like, man, we need to be pushing for the upfront championship battle. Not expecting to win it, but be in that hunt. Like have Bryson and Walker maybe a little scared. And round one that didn't go for it. So going into round two, we came out, got a third. I was tickled to death. Then we went to Talladega, and like I was super amped on a new track, new property. Biked it. It was old school cross country, like what I grew up doing. So I was like, all right, this is going to be awesome. But there's a downside to that. If you get a bad start and you're at the back, them old school cross countries are really hard to race on or pass. It kind of it levels the playing field. And we go into the first corner. I think I was like mid pack going into the second corner. I was third. And I was like, oh yeah, it's like exactly where I need to be. I had Walker and Bryson right in front of me. And somehow spun out, went sideways, went to the very back of the pack. And going in the woods, I was already like, this is the last thing I needed to do at this track. Still had fun, battled back up through the pack, ended up 7th on the day. I was not happy with the result, but for what it could have been, it was a good day.
Wyatt, you mentioned the spin out in the second turn at Talladega. It wasn't just a spin out, man. I mean, I think you're downplaying it a bit. It was like you came in there, it looked like those guys kind of got on the brakes as they were trying to make passes on each other, Wyatt or
Yep.
Bryson and Walker. And then I actually talked to you about it that night at dinner, and you said you just grabbed some front brake and I don't know if you've seen it, but if you go back and watch Racer TV, I mean, he's wide open. This is super high speed and it's a pretty tight corner. He just like it's not like he slowly spins around backwards like we see. Like it's a complete instant 180 and he shoots coming out of the dust. You just see a wall of dust and then you see Wyatt's back of his jersey coming at the camera and then it just disappears. Like
It happened so fast, and then I'm just facing all these guys who are pushing into this corner, and somehow I didn't get hit head on or nothing crazy happened.
it's Talladega, baby. At any point, did you have that Talladega Nights moment of are those the other cars?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like
yeah.
the way they were just coming at you.
Oh man, not ideal, but yeah, I guess I downplayed it a little bit, and it just happened so fast. We're used to crazy stuff like that happening, but it was wild.
yeah. So what you're saying is it's the worst place for that to happen. Is this because there just aren't alternate lines to make any passes in the woods?
Yeah, so when they put like a new place like this, a new property, usually don't have new trails, and so they fresh cut everything. And when we go there years after years, new lines get put in. Well, this one had one line, and then we are lucky to have the morning 4x4 guys, women's pro. They put in a couple other ones, but for the most part, it was a very singular like line track.
Wyatt, on that point, coming in, obviously I know your background and know where you race. You race a lot of the OXCR and
Yep,
those tracks that are kind of Wexer, the
yep.
stuff that's pretty tight like that down in Southern Ohio. I was expecting a big round out of you, especially coming off the podium. And this isn't an opportunity, like I'm not bagging on you, but you had to kind of be chomping at the bit when you biked that track and saw
Oh, for sure.
really favors anybody that watches you knows you're very quick, like point to point. You throw the bike around a lot like Bryson, who's from your area, and you guys
Yep.
ride along the same. Whereas you look at someone like Walker or Josh, they tend to flow more. Even Hunter, like they tend to have more of that flow carrying outsides. You and Bryson throw the bike around. You're very point to point. You're tall, lanky, like you have that leverage. Were you like pumped coming in, and then when you got that after spinning around backwards, like what went through your mind?
Yeah, so I talked to my dad like beforehand. I was like, dude, like this is a round. Like if I could get up front, I can hang with these guys, if not beat them. Like I was super, super ecstatic for just how the track was looking out because literally we were like a mile in. My girlfriend biked with me, and I was like, dude, this is an OXCR. This is what I ride every other weekend. Like there's no reason. Like my bike set up everything. I should just be able to go out here and put it down. And I mean, like I said, just it went right out the window off the start. I was like, man, now it's gonna be a long day. And I talked to Matt and stuff. I passed probably 10 times to make up 3 positions. Like I would get ahead of the people I needed to push, and then find myself in a bad spot or clip a tree, and then those guys would get back by, and it was just like a yo-yo. So at the end of the day, I rode good, and like I rode the way I wanted to, but the results didn't show, and that's just not what I needed to do.
I want to ask about this coming through the ranks thing. That's really interesting to say. The goal is to maybe worry them a little bit, scare them, put a little pressure on. Yeah, what kind of like building process? What is the main thing that you're going to need to learn to before you're like, no, I can win the title. I can beat those guys. What's the last piece as you go into XC1 and then try to become a guy that wins every weekend?
I'm still trying to figure that out. If I could just kind of pinpoint it, it'd be a lot easier.
Yes.
Just man, them guys are so dialed. Like you rarely see Bryson or Walker make a mistake, and when they do it, they can make that time back up. Like I mean, in no time. And I don't know, just trying to figure out where I'm at and where they're better at. There's a couple spots when I'm following them guys, like man, I'm faster, and then we get in a different spot, and they're like way faster than me, and I think those guys just hit their marks. They don't worry about anybody else, and I think that's what I need to start doing.
What about race strategy though? Because I know it's such a game there. Sometimes it's really you don't see their cards until the last lap or halfway through or whatever. Is that a piece that you've seen as well, or is it more just they go fast at times?
That one's hard. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure this one out. Like if they get a bad start, they're capable of. They have enough raw speed, enough experience. They know how to get around those guys just really, really fast to put themselves up front.
Mm-hmm.
Where sometimes I feel like I get comfortable in the back instead of just pushing through the front.
I see.
And if you can do that early on in the race, it's a lot easier in the later in the race when you're already in third and fourth. You can be like, okay, I can click off 2 more and.
Yeah.
But when you're 8th going into the last 2 laps, it's like, oh man, now we got some work to do.
So Wyatt, and I just was checking results to confirm, we're talking about you potentially trying to make that move to consistently battle for wins, obviously grabbing your first career win last year,
Yep.
and to put yourself in a position to battle with Bryson, Walker, the likes for a championship, obviously earning number 3 last year. I think what may be overlooked is this is your 3rd season in the pro class.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like you're a career guy that's been in this class forever, and please don't take this the wrong way because you and I have talked about this before. So anybody at home, this isn't a shot at Wyatt. Like you weren't superstar. You weren't the phenom coming up through. You weren't Walker Fowler. You weren't Hunter Hart. Like you don't have multiple youth championships and overalls. You weren't a
I've got zero youth championships, youth overalls.
That's fine, but like you kind of did it a different way. Like honestly, and again, like when I remember the first time I knew who you were at the Penton in a pretty muddy race. You actually came up and caught me out of the XC2 class, and I had no idea who you were. And you were just absolutely rolling. Again, those Southern Ohio conditions that you're comfortable with.
Yep.
And
but wait, those are the conditions you're comfortable with. That really says a lot right there.
I was getting pretty old at the time. This was like 2021. But still, I think we were battling well inside the top 10 overall that day. And I think Wyatt ended up having a bike issue. And it's a pretty crazy story because he was racing essentially a stock machine because his race machine was down. It was a bike he'd never ridden before. To that point, though, like, Wyatt, you didn't like slowly work your way up through the ranks. Like you were kind of God, I can't say the word a nobody, but you were an unknown. Like
Yep.
you didn't make noise in the youth ranks. You didn't make noise in the amateur ranks. You got to XC2, you were even there for a bit, and then suddenly it was just like, bam, like you're a guy that's battling for wins in XC2, and then I think you've shocked a lot of people with how quickly you've adapted to the pace and the racecraft in XC1. What do you attribute the, I don't want to say overnight success because you've been doing this a long time, but what do you attribute the quick improvement in your results and what you're doing the last, let's say, 4 or 5 years?
So big part of not, yeah, you go back to the youth ranks and stuff. Like you said, I was never like the show guy. I was always a fifth place guy or whatever. And my dad always got on me like, man, like, you got to put the work in, working out, like staying just true to the sport. We didn't have a whole lot of money. Like a lot of our quads were junk when we go to the races, and we would break 90% of the time. So when you don't have experience on the track, it doesn't show when you do finish. And luckily I had the Stewart Boys Action Off-Road. They saw what I was putting in. They saw my potential, and they, opened the doors for me to have nicer bikes, nicer training facilities, stuff like that. And that helped a bunch. That kind of just put me where I should have been. And, I have Levi Cohen, who jumped on board, Matt Pierce. I have the top mechanic, top trainer right now. So kind of just aligning everything was really big for me. And just, staying true. Like all those times I broke down, it sucked. And now when you do win or you do get a podium, it just means that much more to me because of all the time I put into the sport.
So it does come down to that sometimes. It's literally just you're doing more work. You're taking it, would you say, more seriously than 5 years ago or something like that?
Oh, for sure. Like, man, back then, like I thought I was putting in the work, and I'd go to the gym and do my workout. But the workouts I do now aren't the workouts I was doing then. And just investing my time in like bike setup, just trying to dial the small stuff. And that's where I think I lack a little bit over, Bryson, Walker, Josh, these other guys that's done this for a long time. They are so meticulous about like, just, okay, maybe if I change this clicker, it would make me a little bit faster. And I need to get a little bit better at bike setup and whatnot. But yeah, I just want to just put in the work, and here we are.
So Wyatt, we've talked a little bit about, you kind of your quick rise to success here in the last couple of years. We've talked about you wanting to battle for a championship. Let's talk about the battle that you've kind of been locked in for the past, let's say, 18 months with the guy who we're going to have on next here, Josh Merritt. I think this could be a good transition. What's that like for you, especially you mentioned the Stewart Boys Racing, the Action Off-Road. So you guys are technically teammates. While it's not everything the same, you guys have different mechanics, some different sponsors, but you race under the same tent, out of the same rig at the races. Just a little backstory for those that don't know, you guys benefit from the same Airbnb down in Florida that Jason Stewart from Action Off-Road, Stewart Boys Racing rents for you guys.
Yep.
You have the same trainer, you're essentially on the same program, you ride together, for almost 2 months or a month and a half out of the year in the preseason prep. What's that like to have to go toe to toe with somebody that in a lot of ways is like a good friend, teammate? You guys are buddies. What's that
Yep.
like?
So it's funny because like when me and Josh first collided, our paths came together with Action and Stewart, we were not seeing eye to eye. I think he saw me as this young XC2 kid that's kind of coming here and like, just, I don't know. We didn't see eye to eye. We always kind of clashed back and forth. And I don't know if it was like, we were both like ego, like, man, I'm the top guy, whatever. And then it's weird because like every year, somehow me and Josh become closer and closer where we're like agreeing on everything. And it's like, it's hard to do it. Back then it didn't bother me. Like, man, I'm beating Josh. Like, he's got me mad this week and I'm beating him. But, now we're, like you said, we're teammates. I look for him to do good. Like when we finish the race, like I hope that Josh had a good race. And it is hard to battle sometimes with your friends. But as soon as the flag waves, like we're all trying to, do the best we can possibly can do. And if that means I've got to pass Josh in a weird way or whatnot, then that's what it is. But when we come off the track, we're still buddies. And yeah, making the playing fields very equal is wild. Like you said, same trainer, same opportunities between both of us. So it's just kind of like, what can I do to be a little bit better than Josh? And that's a battle that I'm battling.
You know what though? There's trainers that I've talked to about that have multiple riders, and they make a really good point that I think everybody forgets. They're like, there are so many weird things that happen in a race that, like, you think, oh, if I'm doing this with him on Tuesday, this is the way it's going to be on Saturday or Sunday.
Yep.
You spin out right off the start, and now all that stuff's out the window. And then same thing in a mud race, or if he has a problem, right? So there you go. Anything can happen.
Yep.
Last thing here, Wyatt, and you'll be unless you've watched Racer TV for these specific moments, you may not be aware of this, but we're going to bring up Shark 7 for a minute here, Wyatt.
Oh, gosh.
Wyatt and his crew have some interesting nicknames, and Jason, you need to go back and watch the Mountaineer GNCC 2024. Wyatt's dad, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, that's how you got involved in GNCC, correct?
Yep, dad raced when I was a kid. Yep.
So Wyatt's dad is a rabid GNCC fan. I mean, he's into it. He's out there, he's cheering, and he is a personality in the sport. So my question is, now that we've seen Wyatt Wilkin on an event t-shirt at Talladega, Shark 7 is his dad's code name, his nickname. Are we going to see a Shark 7 shirt for all his fans?
So we actually, one of his buddies made him some Shark 7 shirts just for like our close friends around here and whatnot.
I'll buy it. I don't care what it costs.
I would like to get him one. And yeah, Jason, you haven't been to a GNCC or like not around my family or whatever, but my dad is what you could describe as like pure blood GNCC. He drinks his adult beverages when he shouldn't, and it's just he keeps everything fun. But he holds my team, my pit crew, and all that stuff together. And yeah, he kind of got a little bit of a spotlight, had a bad day at Mountaineer, and they put him on Racer TV, which was probably not the best idea. Luckily, this was like mid-race, not in the evening, because it probably would have been a lot different of an interview, but he still brought some fun to it, and now he's got some light on his Shark 7.
All right.
Wyatt, I know your dad's been a huge supporter of your career, and obviously we're poking a little fun at the Shark 7 thing, but he hit the nail on the head. Shark 7, Wyatt's dad, absolutely is a throwback to GNCC in the 90s and early 2000s, and we're lucky to have him and fans like him.
I got to let Merritt into the room here, but while I'm doing that, does this include the banquet? Does he have a good time at the banquet? Because when you want to talk true having fun at GNCC old school, the banquet has to be included. We cannot speak of this.
Talk about that.
Well,
perfect answer.
I've got to overlook him the whole time. Like I'm just following him around, making sure he's just doing what he should be doing, not getting out of hand.
That completes the puzzle right there. Or this completes the puzzle, because now we got the teammates.
Hi, Wyatt.
Hi, JM.
I asked Johnny before this, I'm like, this is cool. We're just going to have people cycling in and out. I'm like, although, what if we actually had dudes that absolutely hate each other? So far, I think we're good. But maybe one of these days, we're going to have a rumble right here in this Zoom room.
Yeah, I think me and doing pretty well.
I hated him for about 5 seconds after last year's last round. And then I was like, you know what? You deserve it, buddy. You did good.
Man.
So close. These two battled it down, Weege, to the final miles of Ironman over that number 3 that they were both fighting so hard for all season. And when it came down to it, Wyatt was like, Josh, back of the bus, bud.
Yeah. Okay, but it didn't stick with you the entire off season, Josh. It did not.
No, the cool thing is I get to work out with him, and I got to see what he was doing. I made sure I got all of his workouts and inside joke.
That's great.
Levi Cohen watching this right now, and he's like, "No, I did not give Josh all of your workouts."
Yeah.
No, the trainer's been named now. All right, Wyatt. Thanks. We'll see if Josh does better than you here, and we'll find out on the track too. But we'll see if he does better here.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. Thanks. That's Wyatt Wilkin. Now we move to Josh Merritt. This is really fun to do this way. I asked Wyatt, I'm going to ask everybody the same question when it comes to this year. The variety of conditions and the craziness that has happened this year. And as I was saying to Johnny, I know the bike mud on Sunday at Talladega was way worse than what you guys were dealing with. But in general, the variety of conditions, what has the season been like? Can you even get an accurate idea of how you're doing? Or has it just been too crazy for some of that?
It's definitely been very inconsistent other than the top 2, Walker and Bryson, obviously getting first and second each round. obviously contenders for the championship, but everybody else is on one side of the spectrum or the other. And it's pretty wild. Like from the mud of Big Buck, I struggled, didn't have the best day, to Florida. Whoops. I struggled again. And then at Talladega, I had one of the best rides of the season and maybe my career, getting third. So it's very inconsistent. And yeah, I could say we don't know where we are, but I think we can kind of put our finger on who's going to be, moving up in the points here soon. I think I definitely have us classed out in kind of tiers of who I think I'm going to be battling with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of exciting. And really, I think it's going to be all about, the starts moving forward. I could be battling Wyatt, or I could be a couple positions behind Wyatt and never see him, but we could be going the same speed. It just depends on who gets a good start.
So Josh, you referenced kind of these tiers of riders and who you think you'll be battling with. I'm going to ask you kind of a similar question that we asked Wyatt from an opposite perspective. Wyatt, in now his third season in XC1, up top battling for podiums and grabbing a win already. You've been a little different path. What season in XC1 is this for you, Josh?
I think this is 10, maybe 11. I think
So
10 or 11.
I think it's 11. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's your 11th season. So 11 seasons in, and realistically, not to say you didn't have some decent results or good results here and there, but a big change in ultimately, kind of building in 2022, then really coming out swinging in 23. And then last year, I'll ask you the same question. What do you attribute the big change from going from an inconsistent guy, fast, some top tens, but now, finding yourself in the mix for podiums virtually week in and week out?
I would have to give it all to Action Off-Road, Outlier Performance, Mark Notman. I mean, those are the big three. Without Action Off-Road, I wouldn't have Mark Notman. The backing, all the support I could get, and then Outlier Performance, Levi Cohn, making me hate working out, but also loving the weekends, because the struggle during the week makes the weekends a lot easier. And obviously, I think putting racing more first. I feel like when I was younger, I would have a lot of hobbies, and I would always put racing kind of like, and working out kind of on the back burner. And, just coming out these last few years, I know my career is coming possibly to an end at some point. And I'm like, man, I feel good on the bike. I can still work out. I might as well just put in all the work I can and see what I can actually do on this four-wheeler. And it's all coming together.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember you as a younger guy, like definitely like the talent potential, all that was there. And then it's funny, like seeing all recently, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not really that surprising to me. I didn't realize that many years had passed. Did you always feel like you had that in you? Or when you're doing well, is that even surprising you? Or did you always feel like in the back of your mind, like, I know I can do it if I just put it together?
Yeah, I feel like I knew I could do it. It was just putting all the puzzle pieces together and just getting the confidence on the four-wheeler and against my competition, knowing, hey, no, I'm better than you. I'm not gonna, let you by. You're gonna have to either pass me, or I'm gonna try to pull away from you. Or, all of it. It's one puzzle piece. I think, to be honest with you guys, like those years of struggling back in the past, I've put all that into the last 2 years of my racing. It's actually kind of crazy. I learned so much, even though I was kind of like back of the pack kind of guy. All the battles, all the tracks, just learning the lines and all that kind of stuff, I put it into my racing the last 2 to 3 years. And when I have the pressure on me or someone's battling me, I kind of go back to those years of struggling and saying, I can do this. I've been in worse boats or anything like that. So I definitely think those made me the racer I am right now, for sure.
So, Josh, let's talk a little bit about what we see on the wall behind you there. I see it's a JM11 jersey. So
Yep.
would that be the podium jersey from 23, or what are the photos at the bottom? Those are the first podium, or those are the win pictures?
Yeah, so this is my first podium ever jersey, John Penton. My first win is in a collection of other jerseys from other racers and stuff like that. But you got Adam McGill and Bryson Neal soaking me with champagne. I'm in the middle because Adam actually won that day, but he wanted to do it the old school way. And he went up first. I went up second, and Bryce went up third because I ended up second that day. Did I say second or third? Sorry, second. And so I was in the middle of the podium. They're both spraying me with champagne. I'm long arming the champagne bottle. And over here, I am celebrating with my trophy.
So
Definitely.
you're celebrating that podium, and I remember after that race you saying, "Man, that was an awesome feeling to finally do that." And then we started talking about more podiums coming and a win. And your statement that day, which has been well publicized, if I ever win a GNCC, I'm quitting on the spot.
Yep.
Fast forward to Powerline Park 2024, you crossed the finish line first, so I think that means you won, but we're still talking about you racing. What changed? And two-part question, where do you see the new finish line? How much longer does JM keep at this? What's going to be good enough for you to say, okay, I'm ready to be done, or is it you're going to go as long as you can?
I think you already know this answer, but I'll say it anyways. Um, oh, we'll go with the when do I think it's going to be done in first, and or I guess we'll start. Why didn't I quit that first race after the first win? I wanted it more. But man, with Walker and Bryson, it's it's a long shot. Those guys are top of their game. This is what they do for a living. And some of us have jobs outside of racing. Mine's not full time, but I make it work. But I think if I get one more win and I pass Johnny Gallagher in the wins column, I will. I think I will retire after that one. And it might come this year, might come next year, but
No, you won't.
my career is coming to an end. But one more would do me really well.
Wow, what a high bar to set. If you can just pass Johnny G's one win, that's your bar.
Yep,
He's
that's my
full of
bar.
it. He's full of it. He won't stop, and I wouldn't allow him to if he wanted to. You got to keep going until you're ready to be done. It's not a number of wins. It's not a number of podiums. It's when it's time. And Josh, you're nowhere there yet. You keep saying, "Oh, you're getting old. You're still a young man. You still got a lot of racing left ahead of you." But when you look at your career to this point, obviously a big family affair. Your mom, your dad, your sister, former WXC racer, your dad, a local legend in CRA racing back in the day. Um, this has really been a lifetime kind of pursuit for you. I mean, does it ever end, or do you see yourself kind of staying involved with the sport forever?
I would love to. I would love to stay involved in the sport forever. Maybe commentating next to you one day would be fun because I think I got an eagle eye just like yourself, and I think I could play the bad guy because I can say what I want. I'm not with Yamaha or anybody, so I think I can. I think that would be really fun, and I know the kids coming up. I'm in that like age group of I'm in between like the older guys and the younger guys. So I'll kind of get along with everybody. And I think the kids coming up, I know, and I'll be able to, address them, and see them riding. So on Razor TV, that would actually be really fun for me one day to do that, especially if you're in there.
Especially
But
if you have more wins than him. That would be really cool.
going back to that, why when I was up on the podium, why didn't have a win yet, and he was next to me at Powerline Park, and he said, "You know how many people have, one win? It's not a very long list." And man, that brought some tears to my eyes that day, and it was pretty cool. I think it was like 2 races later, he got his first ever win, and so we both are on that list. But it's really wild. I had all these goals and dreams as a kid to be a ATV champion, make all this money, and maybe come up short on that. Maybe was born a few years too late, but I got that one win, and if it was all taken away, tomorrow, I don't think I would regret anything. I had my fun meeting people all around the world, and yeah, I just don't regret it, man. This is that one race win and these podiums that I keep getting. I'll never be grumpy if I'm on that podium. I'm just saying that right now. Like, I don't care if I was in first and ended up third. I'm happy. I'm taking them all as one. First, second, or third, I won that day. Just so you know.
Well, what I like about this is, okay, you keep talking so much in the past tense. I've been in the class 10. Johnny says 11 years. If I got one win or two, maybe I'd retire. The booth would be cool later on. But as your results are better, now you got to win last year. Podiums aren't shocking when they happen. Doesn't it actually make you want to do the workouts and show up at the races more? I mean, now you got a shot to get these podiums on any given weekend instead of sixth or something like that. Wouldn't that just make you want to race this more?
Oh, for sure. And, I'll always keep racing. And I told my fiance, I think I'll race until my number goes backwards. So
okay,
I'm number 4 right now. If I can get number 3 or 4, I'm going to keep going. But if I go backwards, I know my time is running low. So I definitely just don't want to be, in the way. That's for sure.
Johnny's not buying this. He's not buying this.
No, this is a whole nother discussion for another day. This is Josh getting in
Go
his
ahead,
own
Johnny.
This is Josh getting in his own head, which is his own worst enemy. When Josh just goes out, rides his four-wheeler, enjoys himself, he's a threat for a podium or a win on any given day. Then Josh during the week comes up with these crazy scenarios and he plays them out in his head of things that aren't reality that no one cares about, but he like pumps them up in his head to be something they're not. Like, oh no, if he would get number 5 this year, he needs to quit because it's not as good as number 4. When the reality of it is, I mean, there's a lot of good, fast guys out there. And Josh, if you're still having fun and you're still able to afford to do it, and I do want to throw one thing here. Josh says he has a job and it's not full time. Josh and his dad are business partners on a Norton Marine. It's a company. They work on boats and they winterize boats. So he keeps himself busy off the track, but I wish he could keep his mind busy because I don't even want to talk about this. Josh, like, just get out of your way, ride your four-wheeler, stop with the stupid thoughts about backwards numbers. Like, being in the way is one thing, but if you earn number 3 and then go back to 4 next year, it doesn't mean you need to retire. That's not how that works, buddy.
I like to use it as my motivation to keep pushing. That's all. So I get to do that during the week without you being around, John.
Yeah, and then I got to square you away on Saturday morning at the track.
I like how this was disguised as an interview. It's become something much deeper than that.
Oh, there's been plenty of lengthy conversations. If I charged by the hour for therapy sessions, Josh would be broke and I'd be retired. Like, from working, not from racing.
Yeah. Hey, that was a good rundown of the podium jersey and the photos. That's actually a really good idea. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that before. That's so cool. What is the other photo riding double there? What is that one?
That's me and Macy, my fiance, and me and Macy at Snowshoe.
That is cool.
I don't know which one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that is cool.
I got a wall of all my thirds and seconds and my 1 first place trophy, and she kind of made it my podcast room / our living room. So it's kind of cool and cool to walk in the house, see all the memories, and yeah, you just get to, kind of motivates me. I got my workout stuff right next to me, so I'll put a race on Racer TV, get to see all the trophies, and it kind of is just motivation.
You may actually know his fiance, even though you don't know her. She's no stranger to the racing world herself. Former ATV motocross racer Macy Davenport, won a lot of races.
And, didn't even know that. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So that they're from essentially the same town, one town over. Josh says it was his dream girl forever, and he finally was able to seal the deal and they've been dating for years. He got her a ring. They're going to get married. So we're going to have Macy Merritt instead of Macy Davenport soon. And then maybe some little Merritt Davenport children. Right? What do you think, Josh? If you have kids, will they race GNCC?
They'll win GNCCs. They're never going to race GNCCs.
That's the most slam dunk question to answer.
Yeah, with her brains and hopefully my body, we're going to be making some D1 athletes. Let's just say that.
Wow. Okay. Even deeper than I thought this thing went from the therapy session to way beyond that. This is cool.
Looking ahead to the future.
I think you're better than you're giving yourself credit for, but maybe Johnny, he said maybe that's motivation. So maybe just leave him be. He's using it as motivation.
Josh's brain works in mysterious ways.
Thanks for the time. I got time for one more here. Yeah. Do you have a goal for the next race that's coming up next weekend, or is it better to not focus on specific things like that?
No, I definitely have goals going into every race. Last year at Camp Coker, I was very sick. I got food poisoning the Thursday before, was throwing up, going down the highway, and didn't sleep all Thursday night. Friday, literally didn't bike the track or nothing, and ended up getting a third place. Hunter had some mechanical issues, which he's always good in the sand, but ended up on the box for the day. Now, if I can get a top 4 this coming weekend, I struggled in the sands of Florida. So I'm hoping I got everything dialed in. I went and rode sand yesterday with some of the training partners, and I was feeling good. So I'm excited to get back into the sand and see if we can, instead of get 11th, get a top 4. That's my goal. And for the rest of the year, really just stay on the podium. I think it's going to become a year of inconsistency of between 3rd and like 6th. There's like a really anybody can get 3rd that day, anybody can get 6th. So I think consistency is going to be key, and just get a good start and put myself in position and let Johnny tell me on the line, get myself out of my own head, go out there and just go ride my 4-wheeler and kick some butt.
It's good advice. All right, we got to let you go. Good stuff, though, Johnny. Thanks for bringing some extra depth to this interview. Thanks, Josh.
Anytime I get a chance to go, toe to toe with Josh, the battles that started 15 years ago on the racetrack continue when I have to get in his face and get him out of his own way. And good things happen when he listens.
Yep.
All right.
I appreciate you guys.